Charles Duhigg, author of the renowned book The Power of Habit, opens the conversation by describing habits as the backbone of much of our daily behavior, an astonishing 40 to 45% of what people do every day. Habits consist of three integral parts: the cue that triggers the behavior, the routine or action itself, and the reward that reinforces it. This habit loop is deeply embedded in a part of the brain called the basal ganglia, whose fundamental role across animals is to automate behaviors. As synaptic connections related to a habit strengthen, the behavior becomes more automatic and efficient. Despite this automaticity, habit formation is neither instantaneous nor uniform. Duhigg highlights the importance of environmental influences and the cues individuals surround themselves with, emphasizing that habits can be consciously created or changed. While many believe 21 days is a rule for habit creation, scientific research shows this varies widely depending on the complexity of the habit and individual differences. Nonetheless, persistence pays off. Every successful repetition makes the behavior incrementally easier, though setbacks and relapses are natural parts of the learning process. A striking insight presented by Duhigg concerns the efficacy of positive versus negative reinforcement. He reveals that negative reinforcement is about 120 times less effective than positive reinforcement when it comes to producing the desired outcomes. This counters popular perception that punishment or avoidance is a strong motivational tool. Instead, rewarding positive behaviors through incentives, be they social, material, or intrinsic, tends to be far more powerful in creating sustainable habits. The science explains that while humans are finely attuned to negative stimuli, allowing us to quickly recognize and avoid dangers, we are less discerning in how much we enjoy positive rewards. Therefore, positive reinforcement often yields greater motivation because people tend to overvalue rewards relative to punishments of comparable magnitude. This understanding has practical implications in parenting, education, and even military training, where Duhigg describes tactical use of reinforcement to ingrain critical behaviors. Duhigg draws upon his experiences embedded with U.S. military units in Iraq to illustrate habit formation in extreme contexts. The military operates as a highly effective habit change machine, aimed at training recruits with low self-discipline or emotional variability to respond perfectly under life-threatening stress. Soldiers learn to react automatically to carefully identified cues, such as a dust cloud signaling a roadside bomb, rather than chaotic or misleading sensory inputs like noise. In boot camps, reward systems emphasize social reinforcement, with peers validating each other's correct actions, which builds camaraderie and accountability. Punishment exists, but is less determinant than repeated positive team feedback. The military's approach to habit formation centers on transforming brain circuitry to solidify automatic responses, a process Duhigg relates to thickened neural pathways. Such deliberate attention to cue recognition and reward has broad applicability beyond the battlefield, helping explain how individuals form or rewire habits in daily life. Throughout the discussion, willpower emerges as an essential but limited resource. Duhigg likens it to a muscle that grows stronger with use, yet is subject to fatigue in the short term. The ability to exert self-control fluctuates, which is why even the most motivated individuals can experience lapses after a long day or under stress. Examples include surgeons who make more errors during the third surgery of the day, or professionals whose decision-making deteriorates by late evening. This metaphor explains why strategic willpower application, such as concentrating decision-making during peak energy times or minimizing trivial choices, President Obama's use of identical suits, is crucial to habit success. Practicing small habituated wins helps strengthen this muscle, allowing individuals to build resilience against temptation and establish long-term behaviors. Recognizing vulnerability periods helps prevent failures from spiraling, and a scientific, non-judgmental approach to setbacks encourages iterative learning rather than shame. Parenting and habit coaching for children is recognized as a vital area for early habit establishment. Duhigg stresses the importance of teaching kids a sense of agency by focusing praise on effort and work rather than inherent traits like intelligence. For example, applauding a child's hard work on an A on their report card reinforces the belief in controllable behavior change rather than fixed ability, encouraging self-efficacy for future habit learning. Moreover, modeling openness about successes and failures encourages children to view setbacks not as moral failures, but as data points worthy of analysis and learning. Making habits explicit, such as describing cues, routines, and rewards in everyday actions, gives children tools to become self-coaches. This foundational habit literacy strengthens willpower muscle development early on, setting the stage for healthier lifelong behaviors and adaptive responses to challenges. Duhigg clarifies that breaking a habit is often a misnomer, since the relevant neural pathways rarely fade significantly over time. Rather, habit change entails replacing unwanted behaviors with new routines that satisfy the same cues and deliver similar rewards. For instance, a long-term smoker might substitute a candy or another oral reward when cravings strike, maintaining the habitual structure but redirecting the routine. This strategy acknowledges the entrenched nature of habits and leverages the brain's preference for repetition of established loops. In contrast, creating brand new habits requires constructing novel cue and reward pairings to anchor the new routine effectively. Both additive, building new habits, and subtractive, replacing or suppressing old habits, require environmental scaffolding, patience, and flexibility, highlighting the importance of incremental adaptation over abrupt cessation. Environmental cues massively influence habit formation and sustainability. Duhigg illustrates that controlling one's surroundings, whether by removing junk food at home or arranging cues that prompt positive routines, minimizes reliance on willpower and improves success. The environmental design includes temporal structuring of decisions, e.g., addressing hard choices when mentally fresh, and minimizing ambiguity to facilitate intentional habits. Social rewards are shown to be particularly potent. Whether in work units, families, or experimental savings programs, acknowledgement and positive feedback from others encourage persistence and internalization. The example of financial savings increased by social encouragement in South American communities underlines how fairly simple social reinforcement can dramatically alter behavior, producing up to 40% higher saving rates. These dynamics provide promising templates for AI or coaching interventions to build intrinsic motivation through external social cues. Relapse, whether in smoking cessation or exercise routines, is reframed as an inevitable and informative stage rather than a defeat. Charles Duhigg cites research showing smokers often need to quit multiple times before succeeding, with failures offering critical data for improving future strategies. The key is adopting a scientific mindset, observing triggers, analyzing causes of failure, and pre-planning alternative responses, implementation intentions. This approach removes moral judgment and shame, which paradoxically undermine motivation, replacing it with curiosity and experimentation. Accountability partners and behavior coaches accelerate this feedback loop by providing emotional support and objective framing. This paradigm shift challenges the all-or-nothing mindset common in behavior change and instead fosters resilience and sustained effort. Motivation is explored as a dynamic, individualized state influenced by both extrinsic rewards, material or social incentives, and intrinsic factors like personal satisfaction or identity reinforcement. Duhigg notes that most successful habit change journeys transition from external prompts, smoothies, or praise to internal rewards, such as the runner's high or feelings of accomplishment, solidifying autonomous motivation. However, determining the right reward involves experimentation, since initial extrinsic rewards must be immediate and meaningful to counterbalance the inherent effort or discomfort. For instance, attaching favorite podcasts to drudgery-prone activities, like indoor cycling, can transform attitudes toward exercise. Social interactions and pride often accelerate this transition, enabling habits to become self-sustaining beyond external stimuli. The discussion broadens to mental habits, which shape creativity, problem-solving, and decision-making. Duhigg emphasizes the necessity of contemplative routines, deliberate periods for reflection and mental modeling that allow people to challenge assumptions and deepen thought. He uses the example of Captain Richard Drebney of Qantas Flight 32, who safely landed a critically damaged plane by cognitively shifting his mental model to that of flying a familiar Cessna, overcoming panic through practiced mental flexibility. Such mental habits rely on building and challenging narratives that govern attention and action, a skill cultivated in rigorous military flight training and equally applicable to everyday complex problem solving. Structured contemplation, scheduled reflection, and narrative awareness empower individuals to avoid cognitive tunnel vision and make more deliberate, effective choices, pushing productivity beyond surface-level busyness. Towards the end, Duhigg and the host explore the transformative potential of artificial intelligence in habit formation and behavioral change. AI's scalability and personalized interaction offer unprecedented opportunities for delivering knowledge, social reinforcement, accountability, and perhaps even motivation. However, questions remain about whether AI can truly replace the human elements of empathy and inspiration or fully generate the intrinsic drive that sustains change. Duhigg suggests that AI could excel at automating cues, rewards, and feedback loops, serving as a near-constant coach. Yet, motivation, often the hardest barrier, is complex and highly personal, shaped by evolving life circumstances and individual preferences. If AI can be tailored to meet these varying motivational needs, it might revolutionize behavior change, complementing human coaches and expanding access to lifelong habit support.